Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another Fallout 4 Mods Weekly, the show where we take a look at some of the really awesome mods for Fallout 4 that have come out during the week. And this week, we are jam-packed with weapon and armor mods. So if that's your thing, then stay tuned because we have a bunch of stuff to talk about. Starting with our first mod, and that is the PKM Machine Gun by Nova Finch. Now, Nova Finch has been pumping out some absolutely incredible mods lately, and the PKM is no different. I've been wanting a PKM mod for the longest time, and I know that's true for a lot of you guys out there as well. And now we have one, and it couldn't be more perfect. This is going to come with everything you would expect to come with a PKM mod, including some beautiful, absolutely beautiful custom animations, a ton of attachments and skins over at the weapons workbench, and of course, leveled list integration. If you want to get your hands on this weapon, it will be spawning out in the world on Gunners and Raiders, and you can even purchase it at vendors. When it comes to attachments available for this weapon, you have everything you would expect for a PKM, like the classic furniture and even some cool skins, but you also get some new modern attachments you can throw on this thing, so you can have some modern stocks and grips and even barrel attachments, or even a little touch of retro if you want to throw on, say, an M64 grip for whatever reason. But you also have a touch of cursed. As it is a Nova Finch mod, you get to do some things to this weapon that you shouldn't be able to do, like replacing the ammo type with shotgun shells. Yeah, you heard me right. That's a thing you can do in this mod, and it's actually a ton of fun. Super inaccurate, not a ton of damage, but man, it shreds people apart. After mods like the Combined Arms Pack and the American 180, I had no idea what Nova was going to bring to the table next, but I have to say I am not displeased by this PKM mod. This is an absolutely fantastic LMG, whether you're looking for something retro or tactical. If you want a new heavy weapon in the game, I definitely recommend this one. One thing to touch on before we go to the next mod is, again, this thing has some really beautiful custom animations and some really nice sound design as well. So I'll go ahead and let that play for you before we transition to the next one. Now then, it is time to move on to the next mod, and that's going to be the Melee String Instruments Pack by M150. This is going to add a handful of classic string instruments like guitars, ukuleles, and some other more exotic string instruments into Fallout 4 that are purchasable from a unique vendor, and then once you have obtained them, they are now yours to use as melee weapons. And what's really neat about these is that you can use them not only as melee weapons, but they make some beautiful sounds when you hit your enemies as well. Yeah, each of these weapons has custom sounds, which is pretty insane. In terms of what you actually get in this pack, you will get a classic guitar, which will function like a two-handed melee weapon. You'll get the steel string acoustic guitar, which is going to be another acoustic guitar, except it has a little bit of a different sound and a different look. You have the balalaika in two different versions, which they just changed the looks of it. It doesn't change the sounds or damage. You have the soprano ukulele, two versions of that as well. Again, it changes the look, but not the sound or the actual function of the weapon. And then you have the Kankara Sanshin, which is like a weird Japanese banjo. But it looks really neat and has its very own custom sound, unlike any of the other ones in this pack. Like I said, if you want to get your hands on these weapons, they are added to a new unique vendor. They are not added to leveled lists, sadly, nor can you craft them at the chemistry station, but instead you're going to need to head over to Good Neighbor, where you will find a new vendor named Chuck Haley. He's a very simple vendor. Just open up his barter inventory and you'll have access to all of these newly added weapons. Now, since one of the main features of this mod is the fact that they each have unique custom sounds, I'll go ahead and let all of those play for you now so you can see how they all sound, and they are all very unique in their tone, so that's pretty neat. Now then, it is time to move on to our third mod, and this is going to be a small little armor pack known as the World War II Hats and Helmets pack from the US Pacific Theater by Widow. This is going to add, again, hats and helmets from the US Pacific Theater during World War II, and these are all pretty neat. There are technically 10 different hats and helmets to choose from, though a couple of these are repeated variants. You actually get more like 4 unique helmets and hats, but again, there are variants of the other ones so that you can kind of change how they look just a tad. To be a little bit more specific, you will get the Garrison Hat V2, which is going to be sort of a more formal hat for the military. You get the HBT cap in 6 different versions. These are all going to slightly modify the way that the hat sits on your head. So it could be pulled up a little bit, pulled down over your eyes, off kilter to the left, off kilter to the right, a little bit more forward, a little bit more back. It's just slight differences to change exactly how you want it to look for your character. And that way, if you throw it on a bunch of different settlers, they all have different looks, so I guess that's kind of neat. You also get the M1COVV helmet, which is going to be a nice desert camo type helmet, and this one comes in 2 versions as well, one with straps hanging low and one without that. And then finally, there is also a tanker hat that you can throw on, and this is definitely my favorite of the pack. It looks really, really cool. Now, all of these models look very, very nice, as they do use assets from Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, and so they definitely have a bit of a AAA quality to them. When it comes to obtaining these hats, by the way, they are craftable over at the chemistry station. You will find them in the newly added USMC specific hat category. Open that up and you can craft any of these. They're all going to have basically the same stats with a damage resistance of 10 and a weight of 3 pounds. And whenever you open them up in your inventory, they're all going to have the same preview icon, but they will look different once you actually equip them to your character. Just a little side note in case you get a little confused when you load this mod up. If you're looking for some more retro helmets and hats, this is definitely the way to go, especially if you're looking for something with a US specific theme. Now, this isn't the only pack by this author. They actually have a handful of helmet and hat packs, not only for the US, but other countries as well, all of which being retro and are coming out pretty rapidly. So there may be even more by the time this video goes up. So it's definitely worth checking those out if you want some more retro style hats. Up next, we have another weapon mod, and that is the Vulkan-M by SpongeBobSlavicPants. This is going to add the Ukrainian Vulkan, a bullpup style AK, which is very modern and very cool, and is actually seeing some use right about now. This is a really, really cool weapon design. I'm absolutely in love with it. There's a lot of ways to do bullpup AKs, but I think this is one of the most aesthetically pleasing. It definitely may not be the most lore-friendly looking weapon in the world, but if you're running a modern tactical load order, I definitely recommend picking this one up, as it's very unique and very cool. It comes with its own custom animations, of course. This one is added to the level list and can be found on Gunners and Raiders after level 15, and you can even craft it over at the chemistry station if you don't want to have to go and find this for yourself. One thing I do really appreciate about this weapon mod is the fact that it has a lot of cool custom modern attachments over at the weapons workbench, but it doesn't completely flood you with so many attachments that you don't even know which ones to pick. Each weapon attachment serves its purpose in this mod, and I really, really do appreciate that about this mod. So yeah, if you're looking for something new, modern, tactical, and bullpup, I definitely recommend picking up the Vulkan. But with that, it's time to move on to our final mod, and that is going to be the Fallout London standalone releaser by the Fallout London team. Now, the mod title might be a bit confusing, but this is going to be an all-in-one pack of every single weapon and armor mod released by Fallout London so far, which is absolutely incredible. Every single weapon and every single armor now in one ESP for you to enjoy, and they're all added in a really cool, unique, lore-friendly way. Since all of the standalone releases, typically you have to craft them at the chemistry station, in this version, they're actually added via a short little quest of sorts. Whenever you start up the game and you travel from Sanctuary to Red Rocket, you will see a plane fly overhead, and it is quickly crashing down. Once you locate the crash site, you will find a new vendor known as Nick the Fence, where you can then buy all of the newly added weapons and armors from this vendor. He is fully voiced with some incredible voice acting and does offer every single item except for just a couple, and all of these are really, really top notch. You're going to get armors like the Arthur armor, the Baron armor, or the IOD Merc armor set, or you can get weapons like the Bren or the EM2, or even the Fire Lance shotgun, and that's only a few of them. There are so many weapons and so many armors in this pack that are all super lore friendly. I absolutely recommend picking this one up if you want a new vendor who sells some really, really cool stuff. If you want to look at every single detail in this mod, including every weapon, every armor, the voice acting, the quest, all of that stuff, I do actually have a standalone video covering this mod specifically in more detail. If you want to check that out, I'll have it linked down in the description below. But with that, I think we're going to wrap up this video. Lots of cool weapons and lots of cool armors this week on Fallout 4. Definitely some really cool stuff happening over on the Nexus. If you want to try any of these mods, they will all be linked down in the description below, along with Xbox links if there are any available. With that though, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you found at least one new mod to add to your load order. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to drop a rating. Consider subscribing if you haven't already for more videos just like this. Big shout out to all of my patrons for supporting every single video, and a very special thank you to Astro, Captain Chaos, Helljumper, Indecisive Wolf, Jackie Noid, Cushy, Moonlit Gamer, Feed, and Youth RC. Thank you guys for signing up for that tier 3 Patreon membership. If any of you guys want to try out Patreon, it will be linked down in the description below, but it is completely optional. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace!